Everyone, welcome to LTV Lab. This is episode 2, and we're switching up the format today. So basically, the new format is each episode is only going to focus on one brand. We're going to do a deep dive on that brand's customer journey. We're going to go through the shopping experience. We're going to go through the post-purchase communications we received 30 days after placing our order, see what they did well, what they didn't do well, maybe how they could have optimized, and answer the final question of will we be buying from this brand again. The brand we're analyzing today is Open Farm. They sell dog and cat food, pet food, and Eleni on our team, Rockstar Strategist, is the one that ordered from Open Farm. So she's going to be taking us through her experience, the post-purchase comp she got, and leading the charge there. So I'll just start off, Eleni, by asking you what made you want to order from Open Farm in the first place?
So I've tried some of their treats and stuff before because they retail at the Pet Value near my house and they just have really cute branding and they're sustainable, ethically sourced. On the back of the package, you can look up what farm the meat and ingredients came from. They're a little bit premiumly priced, so I've only ever tried the treats. So I thought, what a good opportunity to try their food. And also, they are a subscription brand, and I know we like to dig into those, so it seemed like a perfect fit.
I'm curious to know what about the brand stood out as premium to you.
So their branding, I think, is really good. It's also, if you follow them on social or on their emails, which we'll dig into, and even their ads, it very much gives the like real people work here type of company. Their whole mission is that they're like wholly obsessed. So they get really granular with the ingredients. You can see what farm things came from. They're really transparent about their sourcing. Even on their site, you can kind of see everything. They also are like, if you ever have any questions, reach out to us. A lot of pet brands don't do that. It makes things more expensive for every step of the process. But we feed our pets like family. So I can see how kind of that's really popular. And just as the pet industry just gets bigger and bigger every year, we're spending more on our pets and kind of caring more and more about their health.
You discovered them through the pet store? Like that's the first time you heard of the brand?
Yeah, it was either like an ad or just seeing them in the pet store, but I had gained brand awareness, and then you start noticing more once you're aware of a brand, where they are and what stores they're in.
Got it. Okay. And final question is just like you were buying from another brand previously. You weren't starving your dog, right? Like you were buying dog food?
No.
Okay, cool. So when you thought of like, I guess the technical term is like USPs, unique selling points, but when you thought of like, I want to try this brand's dog food for my dog, what in your mind was the expected benefit that you might get from them that you were hoping for that you weren't getting from your current option?
My dog, and I think this depends on their customer too. They have a lot of specific diet foods, like if your dog has a sensitive stomach or grain free, certain meats, certain fish based ones. If you have specific dog needs, there's not that much out there if your dog can't eat certain things. Frankie doesn't have that problem. He actually eats everything, even things he shouldn't. So I'm not super loyal to any dog food company. So kind of always looking to try new things.
That's actually interesting. I would have guessed that there is a lot of loyalty if your dog likes something. I personally would probably just keep buying the same thing, but I also don't have a dog.
Yeah,
So that's good to know.
that's probably true. Like people, I'm sure, keep their dog on like the same dog food, but I don't have strong loyalty to any pet food brand because to him, they all seem the same. So to me, there's not huge differences unless something started like not sitting well with him, then obviously there would be a reason to switch. And I know that's the case for a lot of people, but not him.
Got it. Saf, you have a cat, right? Multiple?
Yeah, I have two now.
Do you feel the same way about pet food shopping?
No, but it's because one of our cats is so picky that he will only eat certain foods on certain days if he feels like it. If we have to switch his food, he will stop eating completely. We've driven 45 minutes to a different pet store just to find his brand of food because that's all he'll eat. So we're
Yeah.
incredibly loyal for him. For our other cat, she's kind of a dumpster cat and will eat anything. So a little bit less loyal for
Yeah.
her.
Kayla, no pets, right?
She has a cat.
I have
You
a
do?
cat. Yeah.
Well, in that case, what's your take on it?
I'm a budget pet food shopper, so whatever store I'm in when he needs food, whatever is kind of cheapest, I grab. Same kind of thing. Like he doesn't have any problems.
Cool. So Eleni, you decided to order from Open Farm. What was the ordering experience like, their e-com shopping experience?
It's pretty good. They have a lot of products because they're have all these different types of food. They have like air dried, grain free, whole grains, like all these different types, and it's kind of broken out in their site if you're kind of looking for something specific. They also do a good job of differentiating dog and cat. I think dog might be the default, but you don't have to do any digging when you're in the dry food tab. It breaks it down into different lines and then different meats below that. It's pretty easy to shop. Good job at like telling you why something is different. So like the raw mix is cooked differently than the oven baked versus air dried versus whatever else. So while there's a lot of things, it's pretty easy to figure out why they're all different. And if you need specific things or sensitivities, you can actually see it down the left there. You can filter pretty easily too.
So you're able to find what you were looking for. What else?
If you click into any of these to get the product page, you can see all the different flavors and sizes. If you scroll a little bit, what they do really well in the shopping experience is seeing why you should subscribe. As an agency, this is something we kind of talk about a lot, but just going into like the customer perspective, like when you shop in store, like auto ship isn't a thing. You kind of have to take that mental note of when you'll need more food, when you're going to go to the store. You don't want to run out. If they don't have it, what are you going to do? So having auto ship as the default is interesting, but also you're never going to stop buying dog food unless you stop having a dog. It's really helpful that they have auto ship as a choice.
First off, I love how they brand auto ship here versus just saying subscribe and save. Makes it like, I'm going to need this again, so just ship it to me.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know from you, how important was it for you to try it first before starting a subscription?
My dog doesn't have sensitivities and will eat anything you offer him. He'll eat sticks off the ground outside. He's not very picky. I can see how people would want to try it first. I'm almost certain that you can auto ship and even cancel it or switch if you kind of want to try something else.
I have a question. For the delivery frequency, did they have any option of auto calculate it, like put in how much your dog eats or how much your dog weighs, and here's when you will probably need it? Because for people who don't know, that might be kind of helpful, like auto calculate it when you're choosing
Yeah.
that frequency, you know?
I don't think so. If you hit the drop down there, it's probably like in month intervals.
So they
But
have
that would be a useful tool to have on their site.
so they have every week, every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, etc. I do think that's a really good point because
Right.
y-
If they
I
had below, how big is your dog? Okay, you'll probably need it every 3 weeks or
do
whatever.
you guys who all have pets have any reference point as to like, okay, it's 3.5 pounds, and like I know how long it takes for my pet to go through 3.5 pounds, or no?
No.
This is really interesting, and it's probably the number one way they could reduce their level of churn, is getting people on that right cadence. Just out of curiosity, which one would you choose?
20 pounds, probably a month and a half-ish.
With I mean, I wouldn't even know because like I've never measured their food.
Yeah. You-
Right, and my cats are like, one of them is literally this big. I would have no frame of reference. I would have to buy it once, and if they really liked it, I might go out of my way, but there's no way for me to easily calculate it.
Right.
Yeah, for me too, because I sometimes supplement with wet food, with dry
Right.
food. And if I give wet food, I don't need as much dry food. But I don't always have wet food, so sometimes there's more
Yeah.
So if they
food.
had
So
like,
I wouldn't know right away. I've never really kept track of it. I just kind of, oh, it's out. I'll go grab some
yeah,
more.
so if they had some sort of like, how much does your cat weigh, and you could put in an approximate, that would convince me way earlier on to just order the auto ship rather than doing it once, seeing if they like it, and then maybe coming back.
Like, it seems very likely, based off everything I'm hearing, that you probably off the jump wouldn't order the right amount, the right frequency, and you'd probably have to either adjust it or cancel it because of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you sign up on their pop-up, they're collecting zero-party data if you have a dog or a cat, and it's so cute. Does your pet woof or meow or both? And we'll kind of see this as we go through. So I have a dog, so woof is selected. They do a really good job, and we'll see it coming up, differentiating between marketing you dog, cat, or both products.
Yeah, this is great. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you placed your order and then you started getting emails. What'd you get?
So first is, hooray, we've received your order on the day we ordered it, which was April 14th. Super cute that they include, I believe, the founder's dogs in kind of this order confirmation. So personal, makes them more human. I put humanification of the brand next to it, if that's a word. Received the order confirmation, and I liked how below you can see the steps you can expect a shipping notification, a delivery notification, just a useful visual, and you can easily check your order status. Here's the contents of my order. And then they include some brand points. So this is part of their like being wholly obsessed. So we vet our farmers like you vet your vet.
I honestly love that. Their copy is just really on point, and like this is where good branded copy really does differentiate you from like buying on Amazon, you know?
Yeah, the copy is very cute throughout. We'll keep seeing that.
Cool. And then when you see we vet our farmers like you vet your vet, does that actually speak to you in a meaningful way of, okay, wow, I really trust that, like I'm not just putting anything in my pet's body?
Yeah, it's one of those things where like everybody likes to say they have the best ingredients in their dog food, but like what do you mean by that is where they go the extra mile. Anybody could say we vet our farmers well, but on the back of the bag, there's a tracking number where you can see exactly where all the ingredients came from, what date everything was made on, like just basically like anything you could possibly want to know about like how all the ingredients got into this bag of food, whereas I can't name any other brand that does that. So that's really where they walk the walk, or whatever the saying is.
It's honestly so cool. I think they call that radical transparency. And that makes
Yeah.
such a world of a difference in terms of trust when no one's giving you that visibility. Honestly, this is like a 10 on 10 order confirmation email when you just look at the standard that comes from other brands.
Yeah.
We look and like most brands on Shopify. This does such a good job at just like bringing you into the brand and just immediately like speaking your language about what you care about.
So on the same day, my order was on the way, which is amazing. One thing I noticed in the inbox is that the image isn't linked, not a huge thing, but it gave the little download button in the corner. And then we see our handy status map again, order shipped same day, which is awesome. Now that it's shipped, we can track where it's at. And then here's where they give you that like useful information when you care to know about it. So the food's on the way, they know that it's probably going to arrive the next day or within a couple of days at the most. So this is where they're starting to tell you, I bought a bag of kibble, not treats, not supplements, not a meal topper. So they're telling me like what I need to know to transition my dog to this kibble, because they also know that I haven't bought this before. And instead of giving overkill information, it's super easy. Just day 1 to 3, 25%, 50%, 75, and then you kind of have the whole bowl. What they could do is link this out with a CTA to like learn more, but honestly, this tells you what you need to know about the product. We get some more really cute copy and branding. So this is kind of, again, they're doubling down on like their like brand statements or their pillars. So they're talking about like recycling the packaging. So they use TerraCycle packaging, which makes it like recyclable in your regular recycling. And I didn't know most pet food packaging can't be broken down by municipal recycling. So that's a good thing to know. Unless they told me, I wouldn't know that other pet brands aren't recyclable and that theirs is different and why. And then they just give you a cute fun fact about dogs, which I would imagine if you ordered cat food, this would be a cat fun fact.
Do they talk about TerraCycle anywhere else in their flow or any other emails you got that are just dedicated to it? I feel like it could be missed, just like buried that low.
I don't think it comes up again off the top of my head. It's not, from when we looked at the site, super obvious there. And then we see it a bunch at the bottom, the customer support, which I like when they include that. They even put cute copy in the last one. It was like, you can send us cute dog pictures. This one's like, for each of their combinations of 1,300 foods. So that's like toppers and kibbles, all the different combinations you could do. Next up, I believe, is another shipping notification. So this one's from like Shopify or Shop app. I don't know that you need another one, considering they just sent you the tracking information. If you just had the shop app, this might be skipped because it would just start showing up in your shop app, whereas this pushes you to download the app.
Got it.
So the package came on the 16th. We were on a walk when it came. Here's Frankie, very excited to see his package on our steps. If we want to walk through the unboxing.
He
So
looks
cute.
so happy. Like he
So
knows
pleased.
this is for him.
He's so pleased. He was like, have you ever seen those memes where it's like when you're trying to do something and it's like that fish that's like right there poking your hands? That's him. It's like, I know this is for me. So the box is really cute. What does it say on it? Better nutrition starts here. And then there's this QR code. So this is where the QR lands you. But auto is on for dog parents. And then if you click on kibble and raw mix, they group all of their kibbles together here, but how to store, how to feed, and then the transitioning. So a little bit more detail here on each step of the way and like what to do if you're have like sensitive stomach or allergies right below. Yeah. And then more on their impact.
Overall, this is a really good landing page. And just again, like compared to ordering on Amazon, compared to ordering like from another brand that doesn't do this, they bring you into the brand world to learn more about whatever it is you care about. I think a lot of brands just like don't use QR codes that well. And I think this is just like a really intentional, like good use of a QR code.
So we open up our box and it's so cute. We see more cute copies. So a great cat castle or puppy palace. When you're finished, please recycle.
That's so cute. I know my cat would use this as a house immediately.
I know, right? Frankie would start chewing the box and eating it, but if you had a cat, I would probably otherwise just toss it, but maybe they would play with it a little bit. The boxes aren't specific to dog and cat, but they have a bone and a little yarn. Is that
I think
it?
so.
Yeah. And then it's if you look at Frankie and his empty box now with the food in the back, if you opened it upside down, you would also get the same on the flyouts or whatever they're called, which is a good attention to detail because I made a point to open it the right way up. But if you didn't, you would still get.
That's really smart on their part to have it everywhere so
Yeah.
it doesn't get missed.
I'm curious to
So
know
that's the
if
unbox.
you or anyone else like has any ideas on what they could have done to improve the potential for you to reorder. One thing is because they have so many other things on their site, if they had a tiny sample size of treats, let's say, or of like a different type of food than you ordered for your dog to try and for you to see the reaction to, I feel like that could be powerful.
Yeah, for sure. Or even like I know brands do like an information card on your first order. So like even just a card with brand info or a QR to upsell you on something else. But even as is, I think that this does like a really good job.
So my only
100%.
counterpoint to having the card is if they're all about being sustainable, I don't see them printing on more
Yeah.
paper because they already have the
Yeah.
QR code on there.
I would imagine that's been brought up on their team, and there's probably a reason, and that sounds about right as to why they would or wouldn't. And the QR on the box landing you back on the site. And just clicking through the different types of products on the top, you're now being exposed to like, oh yeah, they do sell all these different things.
The one thing I would say on the QR code that I didn't see, and maybe I just missed it, was they didn't have any push for their subscription on that page. If you just got the product and trying it, or even if you're like going back because you're curious after you originally got it, I think having a push for subscription would be a good place to put there.
Yeah. I suppose you would probably, if you had a subscription, have the same box, but that is something I noticed that we'll see come up again is that big push for subscription on the site, and then we kind of don't get it again.
I do think that's a really good point, Kayla, especially if it was a card. I know maybe for sustainability reasons they wouldn't want to do that, but it's something you can keep and hold on to for when it's time to reorder. Like, don't forget you can get 20% off your next subscription or whatever that
Or
percentage
even
off
like
is.
a card that says, they might not know this if they don't have the data on the size of your pet, but a card or something like set a reminder or like a QR code or something to set a reminder, and they can send you an SMS when they expect you need to reorder, and then they
Right.
can sell you to subscription there as well.
Yeah, I think the last thing I would say here, and I probably wouldn't say this if there wasn't a really cute picture of Frankie right in front of me, but I think prompting you to post on social, which I usually don't like because it just feels very generic and like transactional. Like who's really getting out their phone and Instagram to post an unboxing experience? That doesn't excite them. People just love posting their pets. And I feel like that additional word of mouth from posting on social would be a really good call to action for this exact use case where now post purchase, what happened?
I didn't get any your order is here emails, which I kind of like when you get them because then I'll know to go check my porch. So I don't know how I feel about it. Are they super necessary? I guess you could argue no, but I always kind of
No, they
them.
are, especially if you're in the neighborhood where packages get stolen. It's nice to
Yeah.
get some sort
I,
of
for me,
notifications.
I have a community mailbox, so if the package for dog food or maybe cat food if I bought a treat or something, but because I have a community mailbox and I don't check it very often, if I don't get that notification, I wouldn't know to go walk to my
Right.
mailbox if
Same.
it happened to be
Right.
there, depending on who the shipper is, right? Sometimes it ends up at my door, sometimes it's in the mailbox. So yeah, if I don't get that message, I completely miss my package because you only have so much time before
Right.
it
Okay, I
disappears.
take it back. It's missing an order delivered notification that we should have here. The next one that came in as part of this post purchase series is a review request. So this came in on the 24th, days after the box arrived. It's asking to leave a review. And then I think it's so cute, compliments to the chef, your pet probably, because a lot that they talk about is kind of your taste and that your pet will love it. So then they put in the product that I ordered, and you can leave a review right in the email here and type directly in the boxes here. At this point, they collect more information about your pet, which I don't know if they are using this to tag your kind of email profile or if it's just being used to show in the review. But knowing how old your dog is and your dog's size is super valuable for how you target customers. And I would imagine this is being used to show up in your review rather than to tag your email profile with it. It is good to have in a review.
I have a bunch of thoughts here. There's so much room to collect this data at every review portal, and most brands don't at all. It just fits really natively into the experience. Like they're asking for the review, and it just makes sense to ask for these additional details, which they could then use for marketing.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're scrolling through clothing reviews where like people add a picture, but then they'll put like what size and color they ordered. So like even if you're shopping, you can be like, oh, this is a whatever size. I kind of look like this person and this is clearly way too big for them. And they wrote in their review that it fits big. So that's now informing my ordering decision. Seeing a dog that mimics yours, whether breed or size or age, and a lot of reviews from that niche of dog eater, I guess, not really customer because they're not buying their own food, give you tips and tricks from the reviews that would be helpful, like saying that your dog really likes it or you had to feed them less or it gave them an upset stomach and they don't ever have this problem.
For sure. I can see that they make those fields required to submit the review, which is really interesting. Doing
Yeah.
that, but more brands should take note of that.
So, the last email of our post purchase journey is this referral program that we haven't learned about until now, but this is a good time to introduce it. You've received your order, you had it for a little while, you're probably already feeding it to your pet. I can see that based on the pop up or the order, they've tagged me as a dog parent because in the header we see shop dog and we don't also see shop cats, which I can appreciate. You probably wouldn't notice unless it had cats and you were like, I don't have a cat. Good use of profile info there. If you have a dog, odds are you know people who also have dogs. So you can kind of refer them to Open Farm, gets you talking to people about kind of the brand, I guess, and if they want to also share and save. I wonder how well this does. I know that referrals can either be a big win or don't do a ton for a lot of brands. And I believe this is the only time we see this come up. So if you miss it and forget about it, that's it. If we scroll a little bit, there's a GIF of different people you could share it with. This is just the one frame that happened to be when I pulled it, but it's just a bunch of pictures of people with dogs, which is really cute. Also noting that they're not including cats intentionally. And the thing that I found interesting is that when you hit refer now, it lands you on a page where you have to sign up for the referral program. It's not a page where it's like put your friend's email in and send them a referral, there's that additional step of signing up for the program and then you can refer people. So refer now and then being landed on a page that has a little bit more friction to when you can actually refer people, I thought could be a little bit better process, if not making it more clear in the email that you have to sign up or auto enrolling people.
Interesting. I think you hit the nail on the head. Referral programs can be really good or just don't really work for a lot of brands. I would be curious to know how it's working for them, and maybe it works super well, which is why they still do it. I am surprised that they opt for that as an offer. You don't get any subscribe and save offers. It seems like this is the point where like they're giving you that call to action in the form of like refer a friend and save, in the hopes that like you want to buy again and this is your option to save. Like it seems they're opting for that before trying to get you on the hook if you're liking the product now and you will have to reorder soon, with the primary offer of subscription. And I guess like my next question would just be like, did you refer anyone?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
But
This is
the people who I would refer are like the closest people to me who have dogs. So my best friend feeds her dog. She has two dogs. This like very, very specific wet food because they're like very, very picky. And my brother has a dog and he feeds her Kirkland dog food. When they're at Costco, they pick it up. So I don't know anyone who like specifically was looking for a new food or like this is the kind of food that they already feed their pet.
That's really interesting. And I do think that ties into when like refer a friend programs work and when they don't. Because it seems like your gut reaction is the people I would refer to, like I know they're not
Yeah.
the customer for this. And I'm curious to know
Yeah.
from you, Kayla and Saf, who have pets, do you feel the same way? Like you'd be hesitant to send someone a referral code for pet food because it feels like you're not in a position to like recommend that? Or like on the other side, like if someone recommended it to you and sent you like a refer a friend code, would you be interested in trying it?
No, I would definitely not be interested,
In
to be
both
honest.
scenarios?
Yeah, the people that I know who have pets, they're the same kind of shopper as me, and I don't think this value prop that this company gives would be of interest. Um, Also, it feels strange to me for referral programs in general.
I
I
agree.
just always feel to send an email to be like, here you go. Where like really you're sending it not because you really want to refer someone, but because you want the discount.
So I was gonna
Yes.
say it doesn't feel genuine. Like I'm not sending this
Exactly.
to you because I want your pet to feel better. It feels like I'm sending it because I want the
Yeah,
$20
anyone like
off.
I genuinely like thought this would be a great fit for a friend. I would just go talk to them and tell them I'm only sending this because I want the discount, not because I really care. So it doesn't feel genuine to send something like this versus just like, having a conversation with a good friend.
For
I do want
sure.
to
Yeah.
say though, if I really like the product and was gonna tell them about it anyways, and they were like, okay, I'm gonna order it, then I might say, if you're gonna do it
Yes,
anyways, then use my code. But like
exactly.
that, I
100%.
wouldn't lead with that.
A hundred
Yeah.
percent. So I have a subscription to Chef's Plate.
Oh,
I'll
they're
cook when I
good.
need that. When people ask me about grocery shopping and prices, I have like a million free boxes, but I don't just send it to people. But if I'm talking to someone and it just they're like, oh, I really want to try it, I'll be like, oh, well, I have some boxes. Do you want a thing? And I'll send it to you. But I wouldn't just send it because someone got an email. I need to be talking about it and then them being interested.
Yeah. That brings us back to the time if I was chatting with someone and it came up, I was like, oh, you should try this. Because this never comes up again, I probably would not even come to my head that they have a referral program and I would just tell them to try it and that be that.
Yeah, these are all like really, really good insights coming out of this conversation. And if you have a brand and you're watching this, I think it's a very important question to ask. Just like, does someone genuinely want to refer this? Are they going to actually, like, does it even make sense? Because where this all started and what stuck out to me the most, I don't feel like I'm in a position to refer this product to someone else, knowing that they're going to want to try it and get the value out of it. I think that's the number one question to ask before being like, every brand uses the Shopify apps for refer a friend, so like we should too. And then also like it just does like distract from other calls to action like subscription or cross-selling other products. I think it's a good thing to know about if it comes up in conversation, but not necessarily the main offer for them to put in front of you at this point. So at this point, you said this was the last post-purchase email you received. Then you started receiving some campaigns. I'm just curious to know, in that 30-day period, what else did they do in their campaigns that would have potentially gotten you to buy again?
I think that they could have, through the post-purchase, definitely leaned way harder into starting a subscription because they know that I did not start a subscription when I placed the order. So it almost doesn't seem like their kind of post-purchase is branched between subscription and non-subscription. It's branched between cats and dogs and dynamic content because I ordered kibble, specifically like the feeding guide, but they haven't pushed yet for me to place another order. Also, through the post-purchase, I would assume that I was being excluded from campaigns because they start on the 24th.
Interesting. So like no direct cross-selling happening in their post-purchase, no direct drive to get you to start subscription happening, and then the campaign start. And I'm curious to see at a high level what their campaign strategy looks like in that period.
Yeah, starting on April 24th, and I think every 2 or 3 days a campaign comes in. And it is interesting because they know that I don't have a subscription and they know that I've placed at least one order before, and nowhere do we see like starting a subscription come up here, which I think is definitely a miss because they have so many products on their site. I can imagine that it's like pretty difficult to like make their campaigns specific to like things you've ordered before. Also because of so many reasons, like there's so much you could know about someone as to why their dog would or wouldn't like something. Even upselling a collection like toppers as a whole without mentioning any specific product, there's definitely one in there that I would give him. A campaign like this, they don't have that data point on me that like I don't need this product. Maybe they could like figure that out by like products I've bought before. They do a good job at presenting why you would need it, why it works, but this is not something that you could convince me to buy with the best marketing because I just don't need it. The treats, maybe because I would need dog treats, but them being gut friendly on its own wouldn't sell me compared to any of their other treats. And same thing on the probiotic chews. You could probably convince me that my dog should eat more probiotics, but he doesn't have digestive issues, so it's not a huge need. So this one, I love that it exists. They're doing good things. I know that Open Farm donates pallets of food to shelters and rescue organizations, and they did a donation to WWF based on, here it says purchases April 15th to 22nd. But our order was placed on April 14th, which had we not been doing this exercise, I probably wouldn't know off the top of my head. And I just would have been like, oh yeah, like my order fell in this window. So I
That
wonder,
date in the copy is irrelevant. Why not just say your purchase contributed? Like,
Right.
why is the date
yeah.
necessary?
So I do wonder what the segment was. Like, was this just sent to everyone? And like, if you made a purchase, great. And if you didn't, like, now you know that we did this good thing. And then also on this email, when you clicked learn more, it linked you on an Instagram post that was about this initiative, but it didn't actually offer you any additional information than like what's in this email. And there could have been opportunity to land it on a blog about this WWF initiative or about the brand doing good for their communities. But it is good that they kind of like are calling out all of these great things they do.
Okay, so no SMSs received. At a high level, do you think if you had received SMSs, they could have had a strategy in place that would have been really beneficial?
So, granted, they didn't collect the information on how quickly I would run out, but even an SMS reminder, like when they would estimate you to run out to push to start a subscription or reorder, would probably convert really well for them.
Looking at the initial ordering experience, Eleni, how are you rating the ordering experience online?
There's nothing that comes to mind that could be better. So, if we're starting at 10 and deducting a 10,
B-Lab's
nine and a
first
half,
10, I believe.
I can't think of anything that would increase the score. I think their site is really good.
Okay, wow, cool. Okay, order to delivery phase. What do you think?
I think pretty high here too. It took 2 or 3 business days from when it was ordered to when it was on my doorstep. Order received and shipping notifications were really good, but we will have to dock them for not having delivery notification in any format, even if it's just like a standard message. So I would say a 7, and those 3 points are for not having an order delivered notification.
Wow, it's a big deduction for that one missed email.
Well, the reason that I would give it that is if my package arrived and for some reason it was dropped at the wrong house or like stolen from my porch or like Kayla mentioned, like in a community mailbox, by the time I realize that I didn't get it, it's probably too late to either like go find it or go get it from the mailbox. Whereas if there wasn't any sort of order delivery notification, I could at least know that it's supposed to be here and it's not instead of like figuring that out on my own.
That makes
So
sense.
I would say it existing would have increased the score by quite a bit, but there being nothing to communicate it being marked as delivered um, deserves a 3 point dock.
That
Does anyone disagree?
No, because what if you had ordered something that was like temperature sensitive, like the pâtés or like just something that like couldn't be out in the freezing cold or like super, super hot if it was summer?
Yeah, when I realized that it didn't come in however long, I would have remembered that I ordered something that hasn't come yet or I haven't heard about it in a while. I would then have to go fish through my inbox to find the tracking, to learn it was marked as delivered, to then figure out how to contact support. So I think if it existed and it was bad, that could be like excused, but it not existing at all is a big L.
I think that's completely valid. Like it would have made everything else here as zero if you didn't actually receive your package. So that makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Cool. How important was it for this product in particular and this experience, like that you received your order really quickly in order to get you to want to place another order and trust the brand? How much did it matter?
I think it's a big plus that it came as quickly as it did. If it took too long, that's not great either because maybe you were like running out and you need it as soon as possible. The really fast shipping was definitely a perk. A couple more days probably wouldn't have docked them on shipping time and shipping experience, but it's definitely not the kind of product that you can have a 7 to 10 business day shipping window without hurting people's ordering decisions because if you knew it was going to take 10 business days, you'd probably go to the store and buy something else.
Got it. That's actually one thing that I just realized. They had no email communication to push you to shop in store or find them in store, eh?
Yeah, on my personal email, I went through their welcome series. In their welcome series, where they present you their e-com offer at the very bottom, if you prefer to shop in store, you can redeem your first order offer as a manufacturer's coupon.
That's really cool. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't come up anywhere other than their welcome series because I get, like, as a prospect, their campaigns to my personal email and it's not in there, I don't believe. But when I signed up on my personal email, they do have that through welcome, which I thought was super interesting.
Are they a big
Do they
right
then
now?
show you in the email like where you can find them if you can redeem a coupon, or do you have to figure that out on your own?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head, but I would imagine that their site has like a store finder that they would have linked, considering how good their site is.
Well, I'm curious because like their subscription, like they don't really mention that much through this. So like
Yeah,
that's a really cool incentive to just purchase in general, to not
yeah.
talk about it more. And
Yeah, I went back to their site. It's
Oh, it
really
expired.
small. Like it's teeny tiny up at top. I would have missed that if you guys didn't
Yeah.
ask.
yeah, I
But
feel like you have to look for it in a sense.
yeah,
And you could probably get more repurchases and purchases in general of like making a bigger deal of it.
that's a good call out. I didn't think of that until now. I would also imagine that if you didn't live in Toronto, it would probably be harder to find in stores. I know they're not in PetSmart, but they are in Pet Value, which are fewer and further between.
Next up, unboxing. Eleni, we looked at the unboxing. It looked great to me. What are you rating it?
I would give it knowing that there wasn't extra things in there that I would very confidently say that was due to like their sustainability efforts and like their kind of brand pillars there, I want to say like a 9.5 or a 10. Like they had the QR that told me everything I needed to know. It was really cute. There was nothing confusing about it. I didn't have any questions after I opened the product that weren't on there or accessible via that QR.
Okay, sweet.
Would anyone disagree?
9.5 sounds reasonable.
I don't know what the extra half point would be, but packaging can always be more extravagant.
Gotcha. Okay, post purchase, when it comes to the emails and SMS messages, well, no SMS, but when it comes to the email messages that we saw from their post purchase flow and campaigns, what are you rating it?
The order confirmation and shipping notifications were really good. They kind of had everything they needed and nothing they didn't. But the lack of pushing to subscribe and the missing order delivered notification, maybe a 6.5, because the same -3 for the missing order delivered, and then
I
just
feel
the
like
lack
that
of
can't,
mentioning
I feel,
subscription at all.
I feel like that can't be counted here though. I feel like it can't be counted in both places. Really,
Oh,
it's like a different phase, like
order,
we already docked them.
we already docked them.
Yeah.
Then maybe an 8.
Maybe an 8 because 2 points or because of
The
lack of subscription.
-2 for not mentioning subscription in any place, and with that, no upsell. It was just really
I
the
disagree. I
review.
feel like it should be lower because other
Well,
than your initial order confirmation emails, you didn't really get any information. You didn't get cross sells, you didn't get information on how to use the product, like in those kind of post-purchase flows
Yeah.
of things that you would need there. So I feel like it needs to be a little bit lower than an 8.
Okay, maybe we'll go back to a 6.5 then.
I feel like what's
But the
happening
dock isn't
here
for the order delivered.
I feel like what's happening
Because I,
here is like Eleni's judging it from like the customer perspective, and she's like, I got like what I felt was like fine at that point, and Kayla's judging it from the email marketing perspective of they didn't do these super important things.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a fair point. Like after the package was on my doorstep, we really kind of fell off until campaigns started coming in.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, and I
ultimately,
feel like there's more they could have done there, right?
and I think if we're looking at it from the lens of how did they do on 10 in order to get you to repurchase, then it's like, okay, there wasn't that much in those campaigns and those post purchase flows that like achieved that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now when we look at the product satisfaction rating, like you could have the best emails, best SMS messages in the world, but if the product sucks and it doesn't live up to your expectations, you're probably not going to buy again. How did you and Frankie like the product?
Really good. It has really good ingredients. It seems fresh when you open it. I don't know how you decide if kibble is fresh or not, but having opened so many bags, it just seems
You
fresh when
can
I open
smell when
it.
it's stale. Like if you open an old
Yeah.
bag, you get that whiff immediately.
So it's definitely up to my expectations. Also on the back of the bag, it has that little tracking number so I can source what farm the cows came from because I got the grass-fed recipe. The only thing, and this is my feedback to every pet food company out there that makes the big size bags, normally on the little 5 pound bags, they have it, is to put a zipper on the bag. But basically, no pet brand does that. So that's a miss for everyone, not just Open Farm. I think for that, I would give it a 9 out of 10.
Did you notice any difference in Frankie's mood?
When he has an upset stomach or he's just not feeling well, I know immediately he's very dramatic. He seems as happy as always. He scarfs down any kibble you offer him. So he's probably not the greatest judge of that.
Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Now, the overall retention rating. So, how well did they actually do to retain you based off of all of these scores? We're looking pretty good here. Different brands, different products, categories have different weights of what actually matters to each buyer. When you look at everything in perspective, Eleni, what would you rate their overall retention rating on 10?
Probably an 8.
An 8. Okay, so there were certain categories that ranged like well above that,
Yeah.
like 10 on 10, 9.5, 9. I'm curious to know, like, what that says to me is that post purchase actual like email and SMS experience plus the order delivery docking of 3 points, like, really
Yeah,
drags everything down.
I think so.
Final question, Eleni. Will you be buying from Open Farm again?
I would buy from them again.
Okay. And so premium pricing, I'm curious to know, is there anything they could have done on their end to be more premium for you to say 100% I'm committed to now shifting over to this food brand for my dog because they have this that these other brands don't. And now there's value and I'm ready to pay it.
They are definitely justified in being premium, and for everything that they do, I can see how a lot of people easily justify their kind of price point, and there are many more expensive than open farm pet foods on the market. I just don't know that I would increase my pet food budget so much every month, knowing that he would do just as well on any other food. And that's not necessarily a brand thing. It's more of if I had a different dog with different needs, then I would be more limited in my choices. But because I'm not, I will exclusively purchase from them moving forward.
Okay, well, there you have it. I think 8 on 10, and the answer of yes, I would repurchase is a first in LTV Lab history. Only took us 2 episodes to get here. Big day in LTV Lab history. No.
The only thing I was going to say that's kind of surprising is considering how much it costs for customer acquisition, they're not trying that hard to keep their customers, which is kind of crazy to me. It costs so
I
much money to get a customer, to get someone to trust you enough to buy, and then to not encourage that subscription or that repeat purchase, logically, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, has it
It's
now
one of
been
those
long
things.
enough where like you definitely would need to repurchase?
Well, they don't know how much I'm using. So I would go through this 20-pound bag pretty quickly because I have an 80-pound dog. But had I had a maybe 6 or 7 pound dog, like this might last me like 6 months. So it would be really hard for them to know because if I had a Bernese Mountain Dog, I might be close to out by now.
But if they had had that, like, how big is your dog? This is how often you should reorder, like,
Yeah,
information tracking from the beginning, this wouldn't even been an issue. They would have
yeah.
known.
It's not like the supplement world where you can say like, okay, the average human should have like 1 scoop. This has 40 scoops. Say they miss a couple days, 45 days, like you'll probably be out. The variance of how quickly you would consume it could vary greatly depending on how big your dog is, how active your dog is, and how many you have. I think it is a miss to not collect that. Their ideal customer is somebody willing to pay the premium price for dog food and be cares a lot about all the things that the brand stands for. So I do feel that regardless, because they have such a high campaign cadence, they're probably reconverting a big portion of their customers, whether on their site or like they're going to a store that retails them, because there's not too many competitors in the market that do as well all the things they do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They should be collecting that.
What it made me think of is one of our previous clients, Kitty Boo Club. They have the shopping flow on their site where you click start now. There's no other way to buy. And like you have to give them the core information for them to know what box to suggest to you. It gives them that information right away of like when can they
Yeah.
retarget you. So it's definitely something that Open Farm could have done and maybe should do.
Yeah. And like they definitely could also upsell me because like they don't know that my dog has certain needs. But if you knew I had an 80-pound dog, you would know that you could sell me the large dog food. There are dog foods that are for big dogs that have different nutrients. No matter what the breed is, you have a big dog, here's something that would be better. There is definitely a lot they could do with collecting info, and people love filling out like quizzes and stuff. Like, there's definitely ways to collect it.
For sure.
I feel like especially with your pets, people are more willing to answer those questions and
Yeah. Or your dog's age. If you have a puppy, specifically
like if
puppies.
you're something like create your pet's profile. Like people love having like
Mm.
profile and like you could add like a little picture and all the information. They can use that for whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know what?
Chewy does that really well. You make your little pet profiles and you put all this stuff about what they like, their picture and their birthday, and they like Chewy uses that info. They'll send you a card like in the mail every year on your dog's birthday. It's also good to know how old your dog is. You can market them senior dog food, which is different, and like when your dog hits like 8 should be eating senior dog food. And also like you can also know what portion of your customers are less likely to reorder because their dogs may or may not still be living.
It's an idea you just sparked, which like 100% will happen at some point. Like someone will do this. You can force people to upload a picture of their dog before they purchase as part of that purchase flow. And then you can use the ChatGPT image generation to literally like if you're sending like a St. Patrick's Day campaign, you like dress that dog up in St. Patrick's gear and send an email with your dog.
But, like,
Oh
how
my
adorable
God.
would that be? Like if I uploaded a picture of the cat and they had even just, a funny little
For sure.
hat on him and sent it an email, I would read that email. I'm not skipping that email. It's my cat.
I would venture to say like I would just buy. I'm not even reading the email. Take my money. That's how good it
Yeah.
is.
Or like collecting your dog's name and it's like, hi, Frankie's mom,
For sure.
instead of like me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Having
the
fun to
world of
think
pets
about.
is crazy.
Okay, so I think we can wrap up this episode number 2 of LTV Lab. Thank you to our Rockstar team of strategists for this breakdown on Open Farm. A lot of great insights to take away from here. If you have any suggestions of brands that you want to see on LTV Lab moving forward, feel free to drop it in the comments, and we'll see you next time.